buying in the North Carolina mountains, there's a really important question you need to answer first. Are you buying a mountain home or an investment property? Because here's the truth, most people think they're buying one, but end up with something completely different. And that mistake can cost you thousands of dollars, a lot of stress, and in some cases, regret. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the key differences of what most people get wrong and how to make sure that you're making the right decision for your situation. Let's start with the most important distinction. A mountain home is an emotional purchase. An investment property is a number-driven decision. Now that sounds simple, right? But this is exactly where people typically get tripped up. A mountain home is about the views, the privacy, the feel, the experience. It's where you picture yourself sitting on the deck having coffee in the morning or spending time with your family. Now, an investment property, on the other hand, is going to be about rental income, occupancy rates, expenses, ROI. It doesn't matter as much how you feel about it, it matters how well it performs. And now, here's the problem. Most buyers try to make one property do both. So let's go ahead and talk about the biggest mistakes that we see. Mistake number one, overvaluing the view for rentals. Buyers fall in love with a long-range layered mountain view, which, don't get me wrong, folks, is definitely incredible, right? But the same property might be hard to access on a steep road, far from attractions, and from a rental standpoint, that could possibly hurt you. So sometimes a property with easier access and closer proximity to town or ski slopes is gonna outperform that better view. Mistake number two, underestimating the usage. A lot of buyers tell me, we'll rent it out most of the time and just use it occasionally. But what actually ends up happening is they start using it more and more and more. And then suddenly, peak rental weekends are blocked, holidays are off the table, your income drops significantly, so now it's not performing like an investment should anymore. Mistake number three, ignoring the restrictions that might be in place. Not every area allows short-term rentals, and even if they do, there can be things like HOA restrictions, town regulations, noise or occupancy rules, and we've seen buyers purchase a property thinking they could rent it, only to find out later they can't. And that's a tough conversation to have, right? So it's super important that you're working with the right agent who's gonna help walk you through that process and make sure that you're not buying a property that you think you can rent, but you really can't. Mistake number four, emotional decisions on investment properties. This one is huge, folks. If your goal is investment, but you're choosing based on, I like this layout more, this one feels nicer, you're probably gonna make the wrong decision. The best performing rentals are often not the most luxurious, not the most unique, but in the best location with the most demand. So how do you avoid these mistakes, right? Well, it's gonna start with getting clear on your primary goal. You should be asking yourself this: what matters more, personal use or performance? If it's personal use, then you should be making sure you're prioritizing views, privacy, layout, comfort, and treat any rental income as a bonus, not your end goal. If it's investment, make sure you're focusing on location. Is it close to attractions, slopes in town, accessibility, year-round easy roads, rental history or potential rental history, lower maintenance and operation costs. You have to be willing to sacrifice the emotional wow factor. Now, there is a middle ground, okay? But I don't want you to think it's just one or the other. We call it a hybrid property. This is gonna be where you enjoy the home part of the year and you rent it out when you're not using it. This is what a lot of buyers do. But even here, you need to make sure that you're being realistic. Most hybrid properties are not gonna maximize income and they're not gonna maximize personal use. They're gonna be a balance. And for a lot of people, that's actually the right answer. So here's what we typically tell our clients. If you're buying your first property in the mountains, lean slightly towards what you're actually gonna enjoy, right? Because if you don't love it, you don't wanna use it. And if you don't use it, it just becomes another obligation for you. But if your goal is to build a portfolio, generate income, and treat this like a true investment, then you need to think like an investor, not a homeowner. At the end of the day, there's not a right choice or a wrong choice here, guys, but there is a right choice for you. And getting that clarity up front can save you a lot of headaches down the road. If you're thinking about buying in the high country and want help figuring out which direction makes the most sense for your situation, feel free to reach out. We're always happy to have that conversation. I'm Terri Boyer with Mountain Life Realty, powered by Keller Williams High Country. And I help people buy and sell real estate here in the High Country of North Carolina. That's Boone, Beech Mountain, Banner Elk, and all of our surrounding areas. So if you're thinking about buying up here, whether it's a second home, a full-time move, or investment, this channel is built for you. If you found it helpful, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We've got more videos that break down what it's really like to buy and own property here in our mountains. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.